In the fall of 2002, the Washington, D.C. area was paralyzed by fear. People avoided gas stations, parents kept their children home from school, and everyday routines were shattered. The cause? A series of seemingly random sniper attacks that left 10 people dead and several others wounded. The perpetrators were not foreign terrorists, nor a military-trained assassin, but an unlikely duo, John Allen Muhammad and Lee Boyd Malvo. Together, they became known as the Beltway Snipers, leaving a community terrorized for 3 weeks and authorities scrambling to stop them. Let's get to know who John Allen Muhammad is. John Allen Muhammad was born in 1960 in Louisiana. He grew up facing hardship, instability, and loss. Later, he served in the U.S. Army, where he gained skills in marksmanship, skills that would tragically be used against innocent civilians years later. After his military service, his personal life spiraled. His marriage collapsed, and custody battles over his children left him bitter and enraged. Muhammad's resentment toward the government and society began to take root, setting the stage for his violent future. And who was Lee Boyd Malvo? Lee Boyd Malvo, in contrast, was a teenager. Born in Jamaica in 1985, Malvo experienced instability of his own, moving between countries with little structure or parental guidance. He met Muhammad in the late 1990s, and the older man quickly became a father figure to him. Their bond was intense. Muhammad provided direction, and Malvo gave loyalty. But that loyalty was manipulated. Muhammad fed him extremist ideas, convincing Malvo that violence was justified as part of their twisted mission. Together, they formed a disturbing partnership, a man with military skills and a vulnerable teenager desperate for belonging. The attacks begin. October 2002. The Washington metropolitan area was busy as usual. Commuters, families, workers. But soon, random shootings began to terrorize the community. The first attacks were in Maryland, then Virginia, and even Washington, D.C. Victims were targeted without warning. A man mowing the lawn, a woman loading groceries, a child walking to school. There was no pattern except one. Anyone, anywhere, could be next. Muhammad and Malvo used a blue Chevrolet Caprice, modified so the back seat allowed them to fire through a small hole near the trunk. This made the car look ordinary from the outside, while hiding the shooter within. It was a mobile sniper's nest, allowing them to strike and vanish without being seen. The randomness and mobility left investigators puzzled. Police initially believed multiple snipers might be at work. Fear spread so deeply that even pumping gas became a terrifying gamble. People crouched behind car doors or avoided going out altogether. Investigation and panic. Law enforcement agencies faced one of the largest manhunts in modern American history. Hundreds of officers, FBI agents, and local police units coordinated to track down the killers. But Muhammad and Malvo played mind games with authorities. They left cryptic notes, demanded money, and even threatened larger-scale violence if their conditions weren't met. Meanwhile, the public was gripped by paranoia. Schools kept children indoors. Sporting events were canceled. Normal life in the nation's capital seemed suspended. The killers had not only taken lives, they had taken away the community's sense of safety. The capture. Finally, after 3 weeks of chaos, investigators caught a break. A tip led them to the Chevrolet Caprice, parked at a rest stop in Maryland. On October 24, 2002, police moved in. Inside the car, they found John Allen Muhammad and Lee Boyd Malvo asleep, along with the rifle used in the shootings. The reign of terror was over. Relief swept through the region, though grief for the victims would last much longer. Trials and sentencing. Muhammad and Malvo were brought to trial separately. Muhammad was convicted of capital murder and sentenced to death. In 2009, he was executed by lethal injection. Malvo, being only 17 at the time of the crimes, received multiple life sentences without the possibility of parole. Later, legal debates would arise over juvenile sentencing, but his fate remained sealed. Their story became a chilling reminder of how manipulation, anger, and access to weapons can create devastation. Beltway Sniper attacks were more than just murders. They were acts of terror designed to spread fear and disrupt society. John Allen Muhammad and Lee Boyd Malvo left scars on families, communities, and the nation as a whole. To this day, many in the D.C. area remember the dread of looking over their shoulder at gas stations or schoolyards. It is a stark reminder of how fragile safety can feel when violence is unpredictable. The question that lingers is not just how they were caught, but how such darkness took hold in the first place.